Hi everybody, I'm Christina Stiso, creative designer for the Radiance Adventure Engine. Today I'm going to be talking to you all about how to use Radiance during a game session. As a game runner, I tend to be more improvisational. I don't spend a lot of time planning and writing before a session. I prefer to let the action and the player's choices lead the story to a large degree. So the way I like to use Radiance is sort of detailed in this following video, where I use the system to run a game of Brandon Leon Cambetta's Pasión de los Pasiones with my friends Morgan and Megan. As the game runner, I didn't do any prep work or story planning beforehand for this game. The group worked together to create the setting, but the story for the game that was actually played was all inspired by Radiance in the course of the gameplay. So, in this game, I act as the GM, or in this case, the MC, interpreting the Radiance cards in order to construct the story. In this live format Radiance, I tend to focus on a smaller portion of the card text so as not to break the flow of the game. For instance, one of our first plot cards is Roads. With this card, I focus solely on the title, Roads, and the storyline text, which says, hero must journey to detail in order to proceed with the story. Rather than spend time reading over all the text on the card, I use this simple storyline to craft an idea for an adventure that fits in the setting we're running. Since this was one of the earlier plot cards, I also drew a detail card, in this case, Wealth. In later parts of the game, I chose not to draw new detail cards and instead rely on characters and places that had already been established. Again, this was mostly to aid in the flow of the action, though you could of course continue to draw detail cards as it seems relevant. I hope you find this demonstration useful, and of course, shine on!
Welcome everyone! My name is Christina. I am the creative designer of the Radiance Story Engine, and today I've got my friends Megan and Morgan.
Hello.
And we're going to show you all how to use the Radiance Story Engine to run a collective game as opposed to a solo game. So we are going to be playing a little bit of Pasion de los Pasiones, the telenovela RPG. And I'm going to be using Radiance to sort of guide the narrative here. So I as the GM have not written out any story for this game. We are going to use Radiance to sort of guide the story in a collective fashion. Alright? So, we've already done the basic character setup. We've created characters, we've got a setting. Now we're going to get into the story. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to lay out my story card, Step 1, Act 1, Step 1. So what this is going to ask me to do is select a plot card that's going to lay out the general plot for this adventure. So I'm going to ask one of you to just pick a random card for me. Whoop. All right, and read the white side.
Okay. Plot is roads.
Roads, okay.
Yeah. Hero must journey to some detail.
Right.
In order to proceed with this story. That's the storyline.
All right. So yeah, you can just lay that down here. So our overall plot is roads. So this is going to be about a journey. So let's give ourselves a detail here. Wealth. Very fitting. So how are we going to interpret this? So I'm doing a little bit more exposition on what I as the GM am doing to sort of show you how to use Radiance here. So having this as my overall sort of plot, the heroes must make a journey to wealth. So what does this mean in the context of our Latinx soap opera? Well, let's see in order to pursue the story. So what we've established already is that the previous owner of our ranch in this story has died and has left his will sort of up to chance. So I'm going to say the heroes, the sort of general story here is uncovering the secret of Don Pedro's will. And this is going to be the journey to the wealth. All right? So that's going to form the overarching story of our little adventure here. So we're just going to keep that one in mind, sort of set it off to the side here. Let's keep that on the screen. All right, so now we're going to draw a second plot card. to set the more immediate plot.
Diplomacy. So a detail or hero must treat with a detail or hero and bring about some kind of diplomatic end.
All right. So we can go ahead and lay that down over here. Diplomacy. Let's give us a couple details here. All right. So we've got superhero and conspiracy. All right. Interesting. Okay. So seeing this as the GM, so we're going to say that the party in general has to deal with, let's see, what can we say for superhero?
The detective, perhaps.
I actually like that. Yeah, so one of our NPCs we've established is a paranormal detective. So our paranormal detective is going to be our superhero character, and the conspiracy is going to be related to Don Pedro's missing will. We don't know where the will has gone. So as part of our journey to the will, we need to figure out where it's gone, and people believe it's been stolen. So that's how I'm going to interpret conspiracy and superhero. A powerful, extraordinary, or iconic character. All right. So now that we have that set up, I'm going to draw a scene card, sort of set up our first scene. And this is the chase. So in the chase, basically, the hero encounters a lesser power fleeing from a greater power to escape a real or perceived threat of capture or harm. So I'm going to go back to my cards here. I'm going to say our paranormal detective, Ava Morales, is the one that's running from a greater force. And let's draw a card for that. Aristocrat is going to be our greater force, which actually makes perfect sense given the characters we've set up. Our aristocrat in this case is going to be Megan Inez Contreras, your character, who is the sort of matriarch of our our little soap opera family here. So now that we've got this all established, we're going to set the scene and start some play. This is going to take us to our next scene, I'm going to say, which is professional. Our hero must overcome an obstacle of moderate difficulty requiring a professional or a trade skill. So I'm going to say you require the aid of Ava, who is a professional reporter. I'm going to consider that previous scene a success because you did manage to, get Ava alone and you found out what's going on.
What would have happened if it wasn't successful?
It just means we have to play more scenes to finish the plot.
Got it.
Did we overcome an obstacle with the? I'd say your collusion with Ava constituted a success. Mm-hmm. So we actually succeeded, and we're going to move on to story step 2, which is the cataclysm. So we're going to draw a new plot here.
Okay. So this is the sort of inciting action, or what is
yes.
the? Okay.
So basically, we're moving on to a new sort of plot point.
Okay, got it.
So yeah, we'll pick some here.
This one.
Alrighty.
And which side am I reading?
The white side.
Okay. The plot is dungeon crawl.
Interesting.
Okay.
How are we
Detail
gonna,
or hero has the opportunity to explore some detail. A warren of numerous obstacles and dangers.
Interesting.
So it's like an exploration.
So, in our soap opera, we are supposed to interpret dungeon crawl here.
Mm.
So this is going to be interesting. So I'm going to keep these details out in case we want to reuse them. Mm-hmm. So I have ideas where this is going to head.
Yeah.
So the cataclysm. So this is a plot. The details of a dramatic event, either figuratively or literally cataclysmic, that sets the core plot into motion. Mm-hmm. Let's put up our first scene here. The date. Okay, so basically, Ava's suggestion here is that you go and confront Perez about this. Like, you have the footage, you have the proof, you know he's involved in this. You saw him overheard him talking to one of his goons. So she's going to suggest that you go confront him about it. It's up to you whether you follow that path or not, but she thinks you need to get more information.
Yeah. She might be right.
That's where the scene is going to end.
Okay.
I can't accuse him of lying. I have evidence.
All right, so we're going to end our little short playthrough there.
Okay.
This was
Oh, what a cliffhanger.
yes. That's the secret to a soap opera. Every episode ends on a cliffhanger.
That was intense.
That's amazing.
That was way more intense than it had any right to be, to
Yeah.
be honest.
So
Very into it.
hopefully you all got some idea of how you can use Radiance to sort of structure events in a game without having to prep out a scenario. I use this very loosely in this game, but you can also use it more structured or less structured. But hopefully this gave you some idea of how you could use it. Thanks for watching.